Well, hello everyone. Welcome to our webinar on Nitro Studio 101. This is meant to be kind of an introductory webinar. There are webinars where we go in depth into how to use Nitro Studio forms and workflows and the many other tools that we have in Nitro Studio. We have workshops that we run once or twice a month. We have a lot of training videos, but this one is meant to be more of a higher level view of Nitro Studio and how it fits into the forms and workflow space in the SharePoint and Office 365 world. I am Scott Restivo, the president and CEO and founder of Crow-Canyon Software. We've been around 22 years now. We started in 1999 and been building applications and products and solutions for the Microsoft collaboration space. Way back with Exchange Server and public folders, we started back in the late 90s and early 2000s, and then we moved quickly into the SharePoint space and Office 365, where we are firmly embedded at this point, and most of our work is in the SharePoint and Office 365 spaces, including Teams. Teams has been come into prominence, of course, with the last year of the COVID situation, the pandemic, which maybe there's some light at the end of the tunnel now on that, but for the past year, Teams has become very much part of people's daily life for remote workers. So Crow-Canyon Software, like I said, has been around 22 years. We're a preferred business application partner for Microsoft. We're a California certified small business. We are headquartered in California, but we have offices on the East Coast and around the country. We also, what we focus on here is building business applications. We have a number of out-of-the-box applications people have been using. Most prominent is probably our service desk, help desk application. A lot of people are using that to manage their IT department or other types of request management that goes on in their organization. We also develop Nitro Studio, and we'll talk about that more today. We also do custom solutions. And one area that we've been put a lot of work in the last couple of years is the artificial intelligence, the AI, and the chatbot services. And I'll be able to touch on that maybe lightly today, but if you are interested in that kind of cutting edge, leading edge technology of how to use chatbots and AI in a request management system or in any business process situation, we'll be glad to talk to you about that. There's a lot going on in the Azure bot service and in the natural language processing and Azure cognitive services and things like that we're bringing into Microsoft Teams and into Office 365. So quite an exciting new area of development for us, and people are starting to take a interest in that and adopt bot technology. But we'll focus mostly on the Nitro Studio itself today, and then go from there. So, like I said, Crow-Canyon has been building business applications, departmental solutions for many years, like the help desk. Also, we have customer service, facilities, equipment, a full range of business process automation tools. Firmly, where we build them in the SharePoint or Office 365 platforms. So they really help make those platforms much more capable and useful in your organization. Nitro Studio, that's what we're going to focus on. Nitro Studio is a no-code application creation platform. Brings you forms, workflows, portals, reports, modern UI, a whole range of capabilities that allows Office 365 or SharePoint to be much more capable than they are out of the box. As we say here, we're enhancing SharePoint. We're making it more of a business process automation platform, giving it the oomph or the power or the capabilities that are not there natively. So I wanted to make a point right here that the Nitro Studio, the forms and workflow creation platform that we have, comes in two versions. One is Office 365 and one is SharePoint on premises. It works in both. A little bit difference between the two, just make that clear. The online version, the Office 365 Teams SharePoint Online version, of course, it runs in the Office 365 tenant, and it has the advantage of being able to integrate with Microsoft Teams, which of course is only in Office 365. We also can bring in the Nitro bot into that. It's our Nitro bot that we created, and so we can bring that into play in the Office 365 world. And there's also modern UI interfaces and other capabilities. Office 365 is a very extensive set of capabilities, and our Nitro Studio integrates not only with SharePoint. SharePoint's kind of the main place it integrates with, but also with the other things of Office 365, especially Teams. Now, when you go to the on-premises version, and we're talking about SharePoint 2013, 2016, and 2019, it's a little bit different. So many of the same capabilities. Of course, it doesn't have the Teams integration or the bots, but it does have added capability of keeping all your data within your SharePoint farm. Now, some people need that kind of security, and they don't want to go up to the cloud, either regulatory or cultural reasons or government, whatever reasons they have. They want to keep all the data safely or securely within their farm. And we provide a version of Nitro, we call it Nitro Secure, that for Nitro on premises, that keeps all that data there. Also, if you're on premises, there's very few tools available. I mean, the Microsoft Power Platform, for example, doesn't work in the on-premises world. So we bring what we think is one of the best tools, if not the best tool, for building forms and workflows on top of on-premises SharePoint. It's a full set of tools. In both cases, we're providing you, whether online or on-premises, a full set of tools for building business process solutions. Now, what I want to do at this point is pop up a poll so that I know which version of SharePoint my audience is using here, and we'll see if, if you don't mind taking a minute or two, we'll put that poll and get some answers on that and kind of orient where the audience, the many people who took the time today to attend this, thank you for that, where they are with their SharePoint or Office 360 deployment. Now, this is a multiple choice answer, so a lot of people will answer like on 2016 and 2019, or in 2019 and Office 365. So you get a little both. So we got about 3/4 of the people voted. Good, that's good. Thank you for that. And I'll just, rather than linger on that, give it another couple seconds here. Yeah, good. Most people voting. That's good. A lot of times we don't get this. We got almost 90% participation right now, which is great. Okay, so I'm going to close the poll. And what I found, I guess I could share the results. Let me share the results. Share. And the share results show that now 58, let's say over half are on SharePoint Online. 2016 is a popular one also. And I wonder what the other no SharePoint are. Maybe it's SharePoint 2010, or you don't have SharePoint in place. That'd be interesting to find out more detail about that. Maybe we can have a one-on-one conversation about that. But this is quite interesting because people are, a lot of people are on the premises are in the 2016 world and moving into the 2019 world. And we do find a lot of people are also SharePoint Online. It's interesting to do this over a period of several years, because we've been doing these webinars for many years, really, but we're seeing quite a difference where maybe that 58, 60, 2/3 or so were SharePoint on premises. Now it kind of switched to that percentage being on SharePoint Online, and SharePoint on premises is becoming a little bit less, but still widely used. So it's just interesting to see the shift towards online on that. Okay, thank you for doing that, and we'll move right along here. So as I said, SharePoint out of the box has what's my marketing person? What did they do here? Okay, I got all the items in here. Yeah, okay. SharePoint out of the box, as you know, is quite a capable platform. It has sites and site collections, lists and libraries, columns. I mean, there's a lot you can do with it. It's a good start, and there's no question about it. But we found that when we build in our application, that needs a lot more than you get there. We were building applications on it since 2007. It's like 15 years now. And we had to build web parts, we had to build apps, we had to build add-ons, kept building parts to make it SharePoint really work as a business process application platform. So we added we found it was missing like a good forms tool, portals, workflows, columns, all these things that we brought in, and when we put into the power of our application. So you can see here as a kind of graphical representation that there's SharePoint Office 365 kind of as your layer, your bottom, your fundamental foundation. And then we brought the NitroStudio application on top of that to provide forms and portals, kind of a UI, UX, and the workflows and processes and reporting and analytics to build our applications and do custom development projects. We were doing this for many years. And Microsoft kept shifting the ground under us, because first they were web parts, then there was add-ins, then there was apps, and there was SPFX, and all these things. And we kept moving right along with them. And NitroStudio continues to move right along with it. And we kept developing these tools to make our applications really work well and excellently on top of the SharePoint and Office 365 platform. So over time, people came to us and said, you know, that platform you have, you know, you could make that into a you know, we would be interested in using it to build our own custom application. So here you can see we're using it to build our applications that we sell, and these will, you know, the fact that they're based on Nitro Studio, if you do decide to go with one of our applications, you'll find that you have many capabilities to easily customize and modify it if you want to delve into the, you know, this orange layer here of Nitro Studio, simply by open up the forms designer and adding a column or changing what the form looks like or adding a workflow or something. So these are highly modifiable and configurable due to the fact that they run on top of the Nitro Studio. Of course, you can use them just out of the box as is, and that works fine also. But then we found that people wanted to build their own applications. So we moved into that world and made Nitro Studio a platform you could subscribe to or purchase, you know, whatever, on the license, I guess it's the right word, license it on your own. And then people can take and run with it. And that's really been quite exciting for the past 2-3 years. We have many people who are like, you know, almost call them like evangelists, or very excited by what you can do with it. And that's been very encouraging to us as developers of this tool, that we're providing this very powerful platform that, you know, it's kind of interactive. People tell us what they need and we put it in, and it goes back and forth. And we have a very strong support staff. We have, we call ourselves kind of high touch or concierge service. You know, we want to really, we're interested in engaging with our customers and making sure they're successful, and just the cool stuff. I guess it's kind of geeking out a little, I don't know, but it's just cool to see what people do with Nitro Studio. All kinds of forms and things they build. It's really fascinating. So let's look at this a little bit more. I won't go too much into this, but the idea was that the basis of Nitro Studio is that we wanted to focus on 3 areas, 3 pillars, we call it, of application design. We've done a number of webinars on this, design principles, just to, you know, how to build an application, because people want to, you know, just want to slap an application together. You want to build it so that it functions well. So the first thing is UI UX, so that you drive user adoption through having very configurable, customizable form that work for how the users are using. That moved on from forms into portals and bots and everything else to engage and empower users. That's one of the principles. UI UX to engage and empower users. Of course, users don't use your application. What the heck good is it, right? So the next is workflows and business processes to really streamline and automate. And basically, it's about efficiency, about saving your organization money, time, and resources through efficient workflow and business process automation. And that's what very central to the whole business, to whole applications in Nitro Studio, is building these workflows and business processes. And then and the third area is, I wouldn't say it's forgotten about, but maybe not given as much emphasis, is reporting and analytics, which can drive a continuous cycle of improvement. If you know how many requests are coming in, of what type, and how quickly they were answered, et cetera, rather than just dealing with the immediacy of fixing the problem, you can also do some looking back, post-ops kind of thing, and reporting and analytics, whether in real time or historical, and then use that to drive a continuous cycle of improvement by saying, okay, where can we do better? What can we do differently here? And those are the elements that we build into our Nitro Studio, and why it's been so successful. People see it's not just a forms and workflow kind of tool, but it's a whole business application process development tool that simple and easy to use, but it has a lot of power to it, because we focused. I mean, this is we 22 years of doing this. It's not like, you know, we just started yesterday or anything. So these are in how many, I don't know, thousands and thousands. It's thousands and thousands of organizations over the years using our stuff. So a lot of embedded knowledge in this. Let's put it that way. So we in this 3 areas, so our Nitro Studio, you know, we put these elements in. I don't think I'll sit here reading off the whole list of these, but the concept is basically that there is elements of Nitro Studio that drive the engagement and empowerment of users. There's elements of Nitro Studio that streamline and automate processes. There's elements of Nitro Studio that drive continuous cycle of improvement. And those are all part of the Nitro Studio platform as particular apps. You know, for instance, the Nitro Workflow Manager for workflows, and the custom actions, or the reporting has a Nitro reporting and tiles and dials and dashboards, and the UI UX has forms and portals, and, you know, the bots and all those things that drive those particular areas. Some other, oh, what's it? Okay, I don't know what happened here. Okay, here we go. Okay, I know what we're trying to say here now. This PowerPoint, this slide right here. The point here is that there's many other ways to manage requests or some kind of user issues, problems, complaints, questions, needs, wants, whatever. Whether it's for IT support or purchasing or HR or facilities or you name it. I mean, it's there. Office supplies, marketing materials. I mean, the list goes on and on. And there's ways we've in the past, we as a collective group of IT and technology people have tried to manage this. Well, one is email and spreadsheets, and we know the limitations of that. It gets lost in your inbox and the spreadsheet isn't shared properly and all that. There's legacy systems that quickly get outdated. And we'll go into a little bit about InfoPath forms being outdated in a moment. Paper forms, of course, are still in use. I mean, I still fill out, all of us probably still fill out paper forms here and there, but the problems with that, they're just, they're not digital at all. So it's hard to share, I don't think I have to go into what the problems with paper forms are. And then there's enterprise software, something was put in place and that was just, it's overkill at this point. So what I said I was going to concentrate for a moment on InfoPath, because we are very strong in InfoPath replacement world. And that's one area that we're doing a lot of work. So if I can get to our website here, and I'll show you, I did have it up somewhere already. Okay, we have a whole section on InfoPath replacement. We have a guide, an InfoPath replacement manager that we created to help you manage it. We have an ebook. I mean, it's one of our main areas of focus because that's what people came to us to use NitroStudio. InfoPath is on its way out. If you haven't noticed, I'm sure you have if you're in the InfoPath world. Mainstream support ended. Extended support ended last year. This is all 2010. In 2013, the mainstream support ends in just a few months. Extended support, which really doesn't mean much, it's just kind of there if you. It's not. Basically, you really want to pay attention to the mainstream support ending, and then you're going to maybe need to move. It's time to move off it. So I'm pointing this out about InfoPath because it's an example of how if you stay on legacy systems and old things, you miss out. You have to move forward, and you have to make the effort to move off of these older technologies and outdated technologies to newer ones. And NitroStudio gives you a good path forward to do that, whether you're on premises or SharePoint Online. So Microsoft got rid of InfoPath, or it's getting rid of it. Deprecated is the correct word, because it was outdated technology. It's not mobile friendly. It's limited capability on the latest browsers. It's old, outdated, clunky technology, to use a technical word, I guess. It's no longer supported by Microsoft. No longer has been developed since 2013. They haven't done any development on it, and it's because they have difficulty connecting. Now, I don't think I got to beat the drum too hard on InfoPath replacement. If you are into that, get in touch with us. We'll help you out. We've done a large number of projects on it. We got it down as far as what's needs to be done. And NitroStudio over the years has really matured into a very excellent, very good InfoPath replacement tool. It has many of the same capabilities, but much more to it. It has the modern technologies that you would be missing if you keep staying in on any legacy system. InfoPath being an example of that. Mobile, cloud, modern UI, portals, AI services. I mean, it just leaves InfoPath in the dust, and people stay on InfoPath just because of momentum, I guess, and we call it an organizational inertia, that kind of thing. So okay, so my marketing department put a few slides in here about InfoPath replacement. Basically, the point is, if you're interested in InfoPath replacement, let's talk about it. I'm not going to go into this. I've done whole webinars. I've done shows at conferences. I mean, I could do hours and hours talking about InfoPath replacement. So I won't go into that right now. They did a timeline of how InfoPath was developed here, and then it was ended, and it's 7 years old, and all that. Great graphics and stuff. And thank you, marketing department, for providing that. But I'm going to kind of skim through that and go right to this thing about the ebook. We can go into if you're interested, download this ebook from our site. I showed you the link on our website. If you're interested, we'll help you out. We like doing it. It's fun, and we have a number of projects in place right now. It's fun in the sense of challenging, I don't mean fun like rah, go to the beach and have a party fun. It's more like challenging. And that's, it's a good challenge to have. How can we take this form and make it work in this new environment and give the organizations we'll work with all this new technology and capabilities, cloud-based, mobile, using modern browsers, AI services and bots. All of a sudden it's like, wow, it's really quite an advancement over InfoPath. And Nitro Studio is, we're proud of it when it does stuff like that. What can I say, right? So good blank slide here. Let me go over to this here. I think we wanted to show something on the InfoPath. Okay. Let's go here and see what's the next slide. Okay, easiest transition. Okay, I see what happened. We're making the point that there's SharePoint on premises and SharePoint Office. Nitro Studio works on SharePoint on premises or works on Office 365. I wanted to point out, and that's why I asked them to put this in here, because we bring you unlimited forms, workflows, and reports. One thing with other types of forms and workflow solutions that you'll run into, they'll be basing it on the number of forms you're using, or the number of workflows that you're running, or the number of reports, or whatever other metric like that they want to use. And we just decided when we did the pricing on this and did the analysis that it's just better for everybody all around if we just say, look, there's a price per WFE on premises, and there's a price kind of on chunks of numbers of users. There's numbers of users, there's like tiers. Let's say call it tiers. You can go with the pricing, and if you want to interested, of course, I hope you're interested, and if you are, talk to our sales team, and we'll go into more on the pricing in detail, because this is something I also want to shout out in a webinar, something where we want to discuss with you what your needs are and what your circumstances are, and we have nonprofit pricing and educational pricing and all kinds of variations on it that get you Nitro Studio in a way that's very affordable and very capable. Not only that, we have training, we have support, workshops, we have all kinds of forums, we have all kinds of things going on to help you get up to speed and get it useful in your organization. So that's what that little blurb was all about. So now we're going to go into Nitro Studio itself here. Let me get out of the PowerPoint for a moment and go over to the slides. Okay, go over to Nitro Studio. Where did Nitro Studio go? Right here. Okay. Get your breath for a minute here. You see the crow doing its thing on our website. Now we're at the point where I'm going to show you Nitro Studio itself. The thing with this is, and the reason I'm hesitating, and it's always good sometimes to take a breath. You ever do that when you start something new, like start a cooking or do something? It's always good to take a little pause and say, okay, what are we doing now? So what we're doing now is I'm being cautious about going too deep into the particulars of Nitro Studio, because we all know it here. We're so excited about it. I want to show you all this cool stuff. Look at the form can do this, the workflows can do that. But I want to keep it at kind of an introductory level. So one of my team can chime in and say, hey, Scott, you're going a little too deep there. But if you do want to know it in depth, and I hope you do, we'll be glad to show you a one-on-one demo of, can it do this? Can it do that? Can it do that? The InfoPath does this. The other tool does that. Can you do this? Can you do that? And we'd love to show you that stuff and, prove it and work with you. Our fun is engaging with our audience and staff and customers and clients and everything and working it out. It's fun. Okay, here's Nitro Studio. So here's what's going on. Let's basically roll it back a step. I created this access request system last night, just inside of SharePoint Online. This is SharePoint on Office 365. Access request system. There's a list here. Nothing in it right now. If you bring up a form, it's like nothing in the form. Well, something went wrong. See, you don't even have a form there. So that's like a really new thing. So what is going on now, though, is that behind it is this access request system. And in this, behind the access request system is our Nitro Studio powering it up. So now I have the ability to turn this basically simple SharePoint set of lists into a real application. So I start with the Nitro Studio. I can build forms, workflows, reportings, portals. Go down a little here. I can do advanced approvals if I want to have a more multi-layer, parallel, serial, with a number of criteria kind of approvals going. I can change the branding on the site. We can put in custom actions that happen when somebody clicks a button or does something on the form. We can manage emails, keep track of the email histories and synchronize emails that are sent in. Emails that are sent in become tickets, or they are attached to an existing ticket to become part of the email history. We can link items together, repeating rows, associated items, that kind of thing. And then there's several list formatting, so to show what the list looks like when it shows up in the SharePoint body, the SharePoint site. All these different ways of looking at it. And Print Manager is very, very great for printing out reports or even invoices or purchase orders from a item, if that's what you're in a purchasing system, and tiles and dials. So you see there's quite a range of tools here. And then if you're in the Office 365 space, which I am right now, you can take advantage of AI services, our bots, our modern UI web parts, and our Teams integration. These areas, this area by itself of the Office 365 bots and Teams integration, is quite a great area. If you're in Office 365, which over half of you seem to be, according to that poll, this is something you really want to look at more closely. In fact, we're moving to the point where Teams is almost becoming more of the interface to the SharePoint backend through the bots and the interactions that we have in Teams. And again, if I'm not careful, I'll spend the rest of the webinar just talking about our Teams integration or our bots, but I want to keep it at the high level here. So here's where NitroStudio is, so people can get introduced to, this is installed behind, you might say underneath, like that image I've shown you, the system here, the access request system. So if you want to build a form, you can just go here and open up a Nitro form, the forms designer. You go here, Nitro forms, already have it open. And now you can start building the form, and you have all these controls. These are all the columns on that access request list that you can add in. And you start drag and drop, and maybe want to put the title here, maybe you want to put the category. What kind of category is this? And maybe you want to put the access. These are different things that you can put on here, and you can put any fields you want on there and start building up a form like this, and then you publish it, and it becomes part of it's what shows up for the user. This is the forms designer for Nitro Studio. Many, many things you can do with it, and we'd be glad to show you in more detail how it works and what it does and how easy it is to use, and all the different kinds of columns you can create, manage columns, all these different things you can do, all the tables and tabs and everything, the layouts and themes, the different actions you can put on, and make it like a very fun. I'll show you an example that's more fully developed a little bit later here. So it's a lot you can do with this forms designer to easily build this form, publish it, and then you have it there available in your access request system, right? Or whatever system you're doing. I'm just using this one as an example here. So let's let that publish and see if that. Sometimes you have to refresh to get so the system knows that it's there. And let's see if it does it, or I still get that troubleshooting thing. No, it looks like it's loading. Yeah, so there we go. See, already just there already, so, starting to build this form out, right? Simple as that, very simple to do. So then you can go more and more, you can make 2 columns, you can do all kinds of stuff. And I can, the thing is at this point, I could go into the forms designer and like really look at this, look at that, look at this, look at that. And it's cool. So here's, I'll just do some brief look here. This is an access request system we had built for another demo, and it's really kind of fleshed out a lot more than the other one. So when we look at the form of this one, you now see that we built this way out, right? This is built out already in that same form designer to make an access request system. So I could take that and do the same kind of thing. It says type of access request, for example. Type of access request could go here, and that's a radio button. So I want to display it horizontally, so I could do that, and now it becomes the horizontal display, and make the width 145. This is the kind of thing where you'd be like, okay, it turns from this into a session on forms designer. But I really just want to give you a taste and almost like a tease on what can be done here and how easy it is to move this from the start of just a simple application to being a more complex just by the simple use of Nitro Studio forms designer, workflows, and that kind of thing. So see, I just made that little change right here, and now you have this. access to and all that. So it's just, it's like, it's just you go through this and you can end up having the form looking the way you want quite easily. Let me go here and do another little example. Employer or contractor. Again, we want to show those as horizontal, and you do apply, and you end up with this look. See, now we're starting to get closer and closer to this this one right here. Right here, come back here. So you see like title, type of access, employer, contractor, employer. So what's going to happen if I spent enough time with you guys? We'd have this form done probably about half an hour or less, and you'd have a form that looks really cool and really functions well. I mean, that easy. So I go back here and I cancel this, and I'm just doing basic stuff here. Believe me, I'm not. There's a lot more complex stuff you can do with the Forms Designer that makes it really cool. I'll show you some of that right now, and then I'll go into the other tools that are available, and they're kind of related to the form, so it's kind of like one will segue into the other. So hopefully you'll stick with me and just kind of see this. But any questions, I should say, said this earlier, send them to questions, and Ryan Ryan will answer them or try to during this webinar, if not after. Also, what we find is everybody's got their own particular situation. Maybe you're doing InfoPath replacement. Maybe you have a paper forms or other process. Maybe you're just interested in building forms, whatever, forms and business process workflows. We'd love to hear from you what you want to do and how you want to do it, and see if NitroStudio would be a good fit for that or not. Why not, right? Fine. Okay, so this is the form right here. Let me go to the actual access request of the more fully built out one. I'll show you what it's doing. And this could all be done within a reasonable period of time. The webinar only has, it's time constrained, so only so much I can. All right, here is what, the more built out version. I was showing you like where I started from raw last night, adding a field. This one's a little bit more built out. So let's look at this, right? You've got this going on. Let's take a few examples of what can be done here. If your title, of course, is just a single line of text field. But if I go to add, a type of access change called add, it now opens up this other section of what dates, what's the dates of this access this person's asking for. Is it perpetual? Is it temporary? If it's the start date, end date. And if you go to modify, that disappears. If you go to, you have an employee or contract. If you go to contract, see right now it says employee name. If you go to contractor, it'll then ask you for the contractor name and pull from a list of contractors. That's another list inside of your SharePoint. And it could be an outside database too. It doesn't really matter. And then it'll pull in information about the contractor's name and company. Of course, you can do email address, phone, and all the other things there too if you wanted. Just like simply selecting contractor. So you're given access to a contractor. Or if you give them to an employee, it goes back to an employee, and you can go here and put in someone's name. Let's say Pavan, and all right, Pavan, and it will show up that list of people there. That's the employee from the employee list. And then several other things are going on this form, all based on the Nitro Studio development here. Is because I'm logged in as admin, it knew to go to AD, the user profile, I guess, in SharePoint, and pull in this information about this account. So the request here is, this is my, who I'm logged in as, and the phone, email, and department are all pulled in automatically according to settings that we did inside of the form. So you can see there's a lot of things going on. Let me go a little bit further on this. These are drop lists. So I go to category, and if I choose SQL or SQL, this tab shows up. Did you notice that showed up? It wasn't there previously. If I do none, it disappears. Where is it? It's not there. Well, if I do it, then there it is. There it is. So on that tab, you can get the server name, database name, permissions, and who the manager is. And I will send a notice to the manager saying, do you approve of this person's request or not? Or it could be, if it's our auto approval, it could be just the manager that's informed and then has to go do the actual work of setting up that permissions for that user according to the time frame. So you see, it's not that hard to build a application that could easily replace whatever you have. Maybe you don't have a process in place, but if you did, like a paper form or a InfoPath form or a spreadsheet or something, you could do, or email. People use email a lot. Don't feel bad about that. A lot of people do that. You would have the ability to make this very easily into a request management system without any stress there, really. So here we go. Let's look at Oracle. Now Oracle tab shows up, and I was playing around with this, building a table. It wasn't quite complete, but you can see like you can build these cool tables inside of the Forms Designer. Let's go look at that Forms Designer for a moment. You can see on the Oracle, I was building this table. I could put more fields here and fill it all in, and then it'd be it's pretty cool. And you end up with these really good looking forms. I can show you some examples. We have a forms showcase on our website that shows some of the forms and stuff that we can do with this Nitro Studio. We've done them quite amazing, layouts that match whatever. If sometimes people have to match exactly what the paper form looks like for some government or compliance reason or something, or also the case where it has to match the InfoPath form. And we've pushed it to that. This is the kind of thing we do with Nitro Studio. We push it to that extreme so that we could go build those kind of forms. And we used to have a form showcase here. There, form showcase, where'd it go? Anyway, you have a ton of information. Now I'll bring this over. A ton of information on Nitro Studio and who's using it and case studies and that kind of stuff. Let's see if we have the form. Here's form showcase right here. We gotta put that in the drop list. I don't know why it's not in the drop list anymore. It should be up here. Oh well. So here's some forms that we created. These are kind of basic ones, and we would try and showcase more of them as we get them. But you can see that you can build a lot of different kinds of forms inside of the Nitro Studio to match whatever your needs are. So I just having fun playing around with this one, making all kinds of different things on it. Now, one thing in the Form Designer, you can have a different form for new, edit, display. You can have different fields show up for different users. You can have buttons show up on the form. So let's look at the display form. So we'll switch over to the display form. And this is what happens when I go here and I click one of these existing ones rather than new one. So this one is going to show me the display form because it already exists, right? So here it is with all this stuff about all these actions and things you can do. Access request number 34%, complete. All these kind of things are showing up now on the form because it's been designed that way to have all this in it like that. So, and this is also a little constructed differently than tabs. It's constructed by sections. It's a SQL, so it's showing the SQL section right here. It's had these different buttons on the top, which invoke our custom actions. And that's all part of the Nitro Studio. And this could also be done in the modern. Here's a modern view of the same one. Yeah, and if I'm going too fast, I do this all the day. So let me just go through that a moment. Here's classic UI. Here's modern UI of the exact same list. Here's all our stuff right here, custom actions and things. So people ask sometimes if I always show classic in a webinar, I'll say, does it work in modern? Well, yeah. So I want to point out, yes, absolutely works in modern right here. So it's very much the same as, kind of one or the other. We kind of moving more towards the modern UI, at least for Office 365, for reasons like responsive design and things like that. But we can talk about that. So where we are now, we were looking at the display form of this one right here, right? So you see on the display form, all this stuff going on. Where's all this come from? Well, if you're in your Nitro Forms Designer, here, of that display form of the access request, you can see that there's these buttons and everything up here put there. Those are custom actions. If you go here to our custom actions, this button has been tied to a custom action. If we open up the custom action tool, you'll see that this escalate button is tied to this action right here. What is an escalate action? Well, this can get to just the way we just did by clicking that through the Forms Designer. It's also available. Custom actions are also available, right here in our studio itself. But this took us right to the custom actions for the access request list. Let's look at escalate. Escalate. What are you doing? Okay. General settings, escalate. Yeah, where do you want it to show up? This action, for this button that's going to invoke this action. Where do you want it to show up? Well, you can have a display form, edit control block, which is this is the edit control block. This little thing right here, see? Escalates right here. ECB, as we call it in the business, escalate. But it's the edit control block right here, ECB, just in case you're wondering. Footnote there, what this is. Or the list ribbon at the top, right? So here we go, list ribbon. You want to escalate to show up there. Items, it does, right? Yeah, right here, escalate shows up here. So that's what you're doing with custom actions, where you want it to show up. But most important is what it does, right? Now, show up is one thing, but what it does is another thing. It's like you show up at a party. Well, that's one thing. What do you do when you're there is another thing, right? So who does it show up for? Everyone or just certain people? Under what conditions does this button show up? Okay, assuming all the conditions are met, what actions are you going to execute? Well, you're going to do all these things: set priority to high, send email to Scott, me, auto assign when not SQL. I mean, you can do all these whatever actions you want, any number of actions, a large list of actions you can put together to build up automation. This is automation and streamlining. All the person has to do is press the button, and all this stuff happens behind the scenes. You can update an item, send a message, create a new task, generate a document, blah, 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 blah. Well, you can see the long list of stuff here. I mean, when you even say something like invoke web service opens up a whole huge set of possibilities from that custom action. We have one where you invoke a workflow. You can invoke any kind of workflow, and that would one of our workflows. We also invoke Power Automate flows if you're in Office 365. And we have, for instance, this one where it sends a document to OneDrive or connects to Salesforce or something like that. I don't know, whatever everything is. Also invoke Azure functions. I mean, see, look at this long list of stuff. If you start to think about, wow, there's a lot of stuff that can be done with that, just clicking a simple button, right? That's what automation's all about, and what we put in that second pillar, workflows and business processes, right? If you're in Office 365, you got all these Teams capabilities, create a Teams channel, send message to Teams, or post an adaptive card. This simple thing of post an active card or invoke web service, invoke workflow, belies, I like that word, belies, hides, you might say, enormous numbers of capabilities that are possible if you know how to use a web service or post an adaptive card. All of a sudden, many things become possible, and it's all here in the Nitro Studio, simply by this person coming here, clicking the button. Another one is assign to self, submit for approval. If we go back to our custom actions, a list of custom actions for this access request program, you'll see that there are those things are in the list. Submit for approval. What was the other one I just said there? Assign to self, submit for approval. Assign to self-assign, I guess, and submit for approval are here. So, what does that mean? Well, that's whatever actions you do in there. Let's look at self-assign, for example. And, skipping the upper part where it's being displayed. It's not in the ECB, it's not in the list view ribbon, but it's there on the display form. And it's just doing simple things of saying update list item with, assign it to yourself. You set the value of the assigned staff to yourself, and then you send a message to support. So you can send it to Teams even, or to email, or SMS for that matter, if you want it. So that's what the custom actions do. This one of the many elements, and we've only delved into a couple elements of the Nitro Studio itself, the forms, the custom action. Well, another one that's very important is the workflows. Workflows run when the item is some system event happens. So some system event happens, such as items created, items modified, items deleted, or a scheduled time. It could be a scheduled time, such as every first of the month or something, or Monday morning at 6 a.m. or something like that. And also can be based on a time in the item itself. So you might have access request system or any kind of request system with a due date of next Friday, one day before, one day after, that same day. You can have it programmed to send out a message saying, this is going to be due. If it goes over the due date, you could do a whole thing of automatic escalate rather than have the person click a button on the form to escalate it. It would do that itself. It would do it, behind the scenes, you could say. So custom actions, the difference here, just to get it clear, custom actions are user invoked. Workflows in our system are system invoked, you could say. So you set that up and do some workflows in here. I don't know if we have any workflows on this. Check in a moment. So already in Nitro Studio, you're seeing a wide range of capabilities of building functionality into whatever system you want to do here quite easily, just by creating the form, defining what an action or a workflow will do, and then putting that into action here on our access request system. So you can come here, you can escalate it here, you can save attach. That's what I was talking about invoking that Power Automate. You can save an attachment to OneDrive, you can assign the request. All kinds of things you can do with this system. You can also generate a document. You can print. We have a print templates. You can print to a, well, you can generate a document to a Word template or an Excel template, or you can print out different ways of printing this list. You know, different kind of printouts you can do. It depends how fancy you want to get with it. You know, save that document. So it gives you an enormous number of print capabilities. Again, if there's some specific need you have or something that's very important to have in your system, and of course I don't have time to show everything here, and we could just talk about saying, hey, do you do this? Do you do that? Yeah, probably, but we'll show you how and all that. So we're back to the workflows we're looking at. See the same kind of workflow tool here for creating workflows. There's portals, or there's reports. You have a report center. Let's see if we got the report center very well developed on this one. Report center. Some of them have more than others in them. So report center is giving you the ability to create, see, here's some charts going on right here. And these can be placed on dashboards and things and become like a full tool for showing what's going on with the reports, what's going on with the system by showing you the reports and everything else that's with that. So when we go back to the home, let's see if the home has any of these reports on. No, but there are other systems that do. I'll show you. Okay, and then we go to portals. Portal is an interesting thing because some people may not want to say, hey, user, go here to the backend system and create a request through the backend system. That's not what we want you to do. We want you to go through a portal. A portal makes a nice, pleasant interface for the people. Let me show you some examples of that. This is a classic UI portal, created one of our Nitro portals. The backend system is an HR request system. The person only has to interact with this. If your user wants to submit a new request, they simply come here and submit a new request. Or they could submit one of the predefined requests that were here on the form, one of these predefined requests. They can also view their requests right here too. Now you can take this up to a managerial level. The person can say, view all requests from my department or my group or something. So it depends how you want to do it. But in this case, we're doing by individual, view my request. This is the request that this person has put in, this admin account has put in over the last whatever period of time here. And you can do open or closed or all requests or whatever. So the person can interact with the system, the SharePoint-based backend system, through portals like this, classic UI kind of portal. Here's another kind of portal. I mean, you can design these many, many different ways. It's kind of interesting. And there is also a modern UI portal I have somewhere. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, I think it's right here. This one. I'll bring this over. This is a modern UI kind of portal, and this gives you a lot of ability to put. If you edit this portal, this is a portal to the application backend, to the IT request. It's the people, your end users using IT. Submitting IT tickets would only see this. They wouldn't see the backend SharePoint. They would just come here. And it gives a security thing too between this front end and the back end. So the portal is security limited so that the user can only see what he or she's permissioned to see and not, stick his or her nose in the back end. If somebody, especially with HR and other regulatory things, you want to keep, information isolated like that sometimes. But the other good thing about these portals is that the person come in and could search the knowledge base for an article that may answer their question right away. And then you could design this modern UI portal with our modern UI web parts to have any kind of look and feel you want. Some people put Twitter feeds on. Some people put other information. And also the other thing you can do is you can combine multiple departments. We call it the employee self-service portal, so that you're not just showing IT tickets here, you're showing IT, HR, facilities, whatever else is in your organization, purchasing in the one portal. So that people come here to one portal, and are able to get access to multiple departmental request management systems. That's becoming very popular too. One step beyond that portal, if you are in the Office 365 space, is our Nitro bot, and Nitro bot runs inside of Teams, and you can come here and the person can interface with this and get a list of commands with our Nitro bot. So the person's in Teams, it's running, they just go here, hi bot, and start working with it. And it is a whole world in itself. If you're interested in, I mean, we only got about 10 more minutes, so this is just really a teaser, sorry. But if you're interested in more, love to show you a lot more about that and how to configure it, how useful it is. But basically, you can just come in and submit an IT ticket or view your open tickets so that people can engage. The interesting thing about this is people can engage with the backend SharePoint application inside of SharePoint, inside of Office 365 through this bot. They never even have to go to the back end. They submit a ticket, they see their list of tickets. If it needs approval, the approval will know to send a card, that's an adaptive card, to that person's manager, who then reacts, approves or denies it or whatever through Teams. So all this interaction is going on through Teams, and the SharePoint backend becomes more like for admins to manage the program and keep track of it and see reports and things like that. Kind of the heavy lifting going on back there, but the interfacing is going on. Is that a word, interfacing? Well, anyways, the interfacing is going on right here in Teams, just like it was in the portal. So we give you many variations on how to interact. NitroStudio is incredibly comprehensive. It has email synchronization. It has the portals. It has the bots now. This is all quite exciting and interesting stuff that is going on here as ways to interact with it. And of course, this all runs on a mobile phone or a tablet or something. Again, it has to be Office 365 for the bot, but the portals work inside of SharePoint on premises just as well as anywhere else. So I was looking at the Nitro Studio, the other things going on here. In the Nitro Studio, we went through that. Custom actions, emails, amazing print manager a little bit. I mean, there's a lot more I could go into detail on any of these. It's getting towards the top of the hour, so let me just point out a few other things about this. If you get going on the Nitro Studio, we have a number of workshops. We don't just leave you in the dust. I mean, sometimes people complain about Power Platform, they can't figure anything out, and it's hard as heck to get support from anything. We took the approach of that our customers are, the most important, and we really want to engage with them, and we have a lot of going on as far as training videos, workshops, FAQs. We also have the knowledge base, the chat. You can just open up a chat with our support team, not any time of day or night, but reasonable business hours, let's say. We have a community forum now. We have training, professional options, and we keep doing let's put it this way, we try our best anyway to keep everybody hooked into Nitro Studio and excited and interested in getting their job done with it. Are we successful all the time? Well, we try, right? It's like Avis, we try harder. We try harder because they were second to Hertz. So there used to be these little buttons say, we try harder. And then there was a cement company that put out a button, we dry harder. I thought that was pretty funny. It came to my mind right now. I don't know. We try harder. Anyway, we do well with this, and people who use it and get involved with Nitro Studio are finding great success in automating business processes and bringing efficiency to their organizations. Whatever, or if you're on premises, SharePoint on premises, that's fine. If you're in SharePoint Office 365 and you want to go into Teams integration and bots, we're right there for you. Modern UI, mobile friendly, whatever else. So if you do have hopefully this has been it's getting towards the top of the hour, so I'm going to just see if there's any questions. But this is me say that I hope this has been a good presentation. It's an introductory level of what's possible with Nitro Studio. I didn't want to go too deep into how to do a workflow or a custom actions, particularly, just to some degree. And I think I probably left out a lot of what we can do with the Nitro Studio and just breezed over a lot of these other many important and capable functions of it that will give you a lot of power and fun. Like, for instance, here's a list formatting with KPIs and stuff like that. That's part of Nitro Studio. Another thing to show you that I could. And it's useful, and that it sparked enough interest that you'll get, if this seems to work for you, it seems to be something you're interested in, that you'll get in touch and we do an in-depth demo. We'll be very glad to do an in-depth demo with anyone who's interested in Nitro Studio and has a projects and business, they're interested in bringing better organization efficiency to their company, and we'll be glad to help you. Hey, like Ryan, we got a few minutes. Any questions that popped up you want to answer here, or are we good?
Yes. The main question that popped up, I was chatting through the questions with some folks, is about repeating rows. Replicating repeating rows in InfoPath, from InfoPath and Nitro Studio. So if you just want to touch on that a little bit, I think that helped clear up a lot of questions.
Yeah, we just did a whole webinar on that. I mean, not webinar, a workshop on it. So let me go here and
I did, and for those interested, I did link that webinar in the chat feature as well, the link to the YouTube video.
Yeah, right here, February 18th. So it's just like less than a month ago. James was showing the whole thing on using repeating rows. Let me see. I didn't set that up for here, but let me see if I can come up with. Well, I think we can. I think I can show something here. It's good. One form of repeating rows. There's other forms, but here, that's the display form. Let me see. Let me get out. Let's close this and open up edit. I guess got to edit a form here, right? So I'm going to go edit a form. Here. So is this one has associated task? Oh, here it is. Here's an associated task. So this is kind of like, okay, it may not be the best example of this, but I'll do what I can with this. So this is a repeating rows going on here. So you want to add a new item, it's going to create another task inside of the associated task list, and then it's going to show up here as a repeating row. Now, with a lot more we can do with this, let me just show you this, and then I'll show you the back end, and I think it'll be even impressive. So it's creating a new task. And the new task, what are we doing? We're going to ask this request, let's just say upgrade SQL Server, just to put something sort of relevant in here, right? Server RAM, I don't know, server. I don't even make sense. I just want to put something in there so we get to. So then we have signed to, let's send it to James, since he's did a repeating row thing. Let's get him going here and save it, right? So now it's showing up right here. I could have put a due date on. See how we just added another row quite easily? And then if we want to get rid of it, we can delete it, or we can go here and edit it even more. Now, the thing is, this belies, there's that word again, belies a lot of the functionality. So I'm going to go into the form itself and look at the edit the display form and show you what underlies this. And this is where, we open the hood and start looking at the engine a little here. And here is the associated task, one I just added the row to. And if you edit it, well, look at this. You've got all kinds of possibilities up here that get really interesting and really help you configure this. And that's what James goes in depth, somewhat depth with the repeating rows webinar. You can do a lot with this and set up okay, all right, let's look at it. Basic stuff of you're setting up a repeating row and what list you're going to correlate with the repeating row and all that, technical stuff. But you can also do stuff like you can allow inline editing and do item, new edit, delete on that, but also the UI settings here. Now you're setting up what the grid looks like. You can put some JSON in if you want to get into it. But one big thing I like is the aggregate. So if you're doing time tracking or purchases, whatever, you can aggregate one of the fields such as cost, such as time, into an aggregate that shows up at the bottom of the repeating rows. And you just set up a new aggregate and it'll say what column. I don't know. This doesn't really make sense here because it's not like a numerical or something like column in the sense you're going to add up the cost, you're going to add up the time. But if it was, it would do that. If I could find something that did that, I could show it a little better. Kind of hard on the fly with only a few minutes, but there's a lot you can do here with the what we call it associated column, associated task. That's the same idea of repeating row. You think, let's see it. Let's when more time we can go more into depth and explore that more. But yeah, it's definitely a very important feature that we have here. It works. It has a lot of variations to it that work quite well. Is that good, you think, Ryan?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I did link them the video. I talked a little bit about it, creating those multiple list connections. One other question popped up about installation of Nitro at the tenant level and then where it's applied in site collections.
Okay.
Or how it's enabled. So the question was, can you choose where to enable Nitro Studio once it's installed in the tenant?
Yes, you install it in the tenant, then it gets installed into a particular site collection. And when it's in a site collection, right now we're in a site collection called Cocaine service, and these are all the service requests, and these are all the sites in this site collection. And as you can see, some are got this word have this word activate. That means it's a site that exists that has not been activated yet. Activated for Nitro Studio. Once it's been activated, it'll have this manage and update telling you what version it is. So this is like a level above this level. Okay, let me go back here. You're now in the Nitro Studio for this particular site called the Access Request System. This is a site in this site collection here. Access Request System is one of the sites. So if I want to manage it and click this, it's going to open up this right here. If I open up another one, it's going to open up a different one, right? So this is if you look through the sites one by one, this has been activated, this has been activated, this is could be activated. You simply click activate and it will. And once you have a tenant license or a farm license, you don't have to worry about, oh, I got to license this one differently than that one. It's all just there. It's enterprise like license that you can activate as many or as few sites as you want inside that site collection. And, we do at times sell site specific licenses or up to 3 sites, but most people will go with the tenant or farm because that way they don't have to worry. You know, kind of take the worry off. How many sites, how many forms, how many workflows. It's just like, you know, oops. There we go. Is that good? Still hear me, Ryan?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Yeah, I knocked the microphone around by accident. So if you, and then as far as updating, you can update all activated sites at once, or you can just update them one by one. It's up to you. If you do, there are other features in Nitro Studio I didn't go into, such as going into our AI services, which is Office 365 specific, or we have some sample applications. You can like create a site. You can go to that application, create kind of a proto application, you know, a basic application to give you a start to build off of. Okay. Are there other questions there, Ryan?
Not too product specific, a little bit of like custom application work, you know, what that would look like. We kind of talked through that, but pretty much all's been answered, all's been covered, unless anyone has any last second questions they want to throw in right now. Yeah, I think we're good, Scott. We pretty much covered everything that was asked today. And like you said, if anything crops up, they could always reach out to you or me directly. We can answer those questions in more detail.
Exactly. Yeah, and good. We got just about an hour in here, which is what we wanted timed it for. And thank you for everyone for sticking with us and seeing this demo. And thanks, Ryan, for answering questions. And again, like just emphasize what Ryan says, we're here to you know, help and participate and see you through the process there. Let me go up to the last slide so you can. Oh, there's upcoming webinars. Here's some more. James is going to do one on March 17th. I don't know why it says October 14th. That's a mistake, I think. It might be April 14th. That's a little, I don't know. Something's wrong. Something's off on that date. Jocelyn. But anyway, you can look on our schedule, workshops or webinars. And I have another one coming up in, that's you. I think you're doing this one, Ryan, purchasing contract.
I think that one's me in 2 weeks. Walking through the thing and contract tool. Yeah.
And then I jump on an InfoPath one at April 1st. No fooling. April 1st. You go deep into InfoPath replacement. And then one more slide, and then we'll just leave with this contact information. Thank you for attending. Get in touch with us anytime, phone call, email, Twitter, follow us on Twitter, follow us on LinkedIn. We're glad to hear from you. And hopefully this has been beneficial, and appreciate your attendance. So have the good rest of the day, and hope to hear from you. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, guys. And Jeff, I saw your question come in here at the end. I'll email you directly to answer that. Thanks for attending, guys.
Thanks, Ryan. Okay, bye-bye.